I don't know how many people here have been in the vegan community. I've been in that thing for so long, I can't even address it anymore. Like, it's hard for me to actually speak at vegan-based like conferences now because I can't hold my tongue. It's like, guys, like this whole thing, like this is actually not, like there's nothing really wrong with veganism. There's just a lot of things wrong with vegans. That's really the truth of the whole thing. It's this dogmatic, and the same thing with the paleo community. It's like, I've just looked at that, I'm like, you guys have never cleansed in your life. And it's like, come on, are you serious? You're going to tell me that this is the only approach, and you're going to make fun of everyone on the plant-based diet, but you've never actually gone through a cleansing. You've never cleaned out your body, so you don't even know if it works. You're just like, a lot of it's gluttony. So it's like, I see both sides, right? And so what we have to do is actually get to a place where we're psychologically balanced and where perspective can entertain multiple perspectives. Like, I can listen to you having a different perspective than me and not be triggered by it and not be defensive and actually like, oh, okay, I see where they're coming from. That's interesting. Let me take a nugget out of that so I can hold more. I can see more. Because once something gets dogmatic, then it's like, you got to break it. That's what I figured out in my life is like, once something becomes a belief system that can't entertain other possibilities or opposing views, I got to break it. And so that's an interesting thing to point out, even as somebody who might be classified for many years as like a raw foodist and in the vegan community or whatever. I'm not vegan, by the way. Like, even if I eat all vegan, I'm definitely not vegan because I don't like the label. I don't like you can't define somebody based on what they do or don't do in their diet. That's not the right way to define someone, but some of the confusion in the diet world is that we're boxing people in based on what they do or don't do in that particular point in their life. And it creates a lot of shame, it creates a lot of guilt, and it creates a lot of repression. Because if you go deeper into it with people, you find out people are so repressed and so scared of actually telling people what they're actually doing that they're closet eating. It's like, what? What is that about? So it's like we got to break out of all that, the isms and all that stuff, and actually just get to a place of like entertaining possibilities. Like, what's going to work for me right now? What am I attracted to? What are my inclinations? Like, again, it comes back to like seeking within, like, what do I feel right now? Because everything's an experiment anyways. So it's like, okay, maybe you've been on the plant-based diet for a while and then you're kind of feeling like, okay, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about incorporating meat or bone broth or ghee or something, and it's kind of coming up a little bit. It's like, okay, well, I'm kind of getting interested in that. I don't have the experience of it because I've been on this end for a while. And so if it keeps coming up, it's probably a better idea just to run an experiment on yourself. You don't have to tell anyone about it, but it's better for your own mental bandwidth because otherwise you're going to have this energy in your mind that's taking up space. So it's better to be like, okay, well, you know what, this thing keeps showing up. Let me just shift real quick and run a quick experiment. But the reason we don't do that is because we're scared of the truth. And the truth is different for everyone, but it's like, oh, what if that actually works? What if that actually makes me feel better? Then what? Then who am I? Because I've identified myself with this whole thing. Right? So then what? Or, again, I could say that a lot very presently for the other side of it. It's like, what if I actually just did go plant-based for a week? Jesus. I mean, it's hard for me to be in some circles because it's like, I'm like, in my world, I've seen miraculous healings. I've seen diabetes type 2 healed within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, completely get off all insulin. Pancreas and the beta cells and the alpha cells are coming back online. And the incurable condition is completely reversed within weeks. Yeah. I know breatharians. One of my friends is an actual, he drinks shaga tea, and I think he's doing something else. But for 17 years, he's actually a breatharian. We did an interview together. His name's Genesis Sunfire. You go listen to that interview for 2.5 hours, and then you come back to me and you tell me, what's your thought process like now? Right? It's just I've just seen too many things that have shaken me out of even believing anything anymore. It's like, no, I don't. There's anomalies. There's X factors. There's magic, essentially, is what I'm kind of getting at. There's magic that's built into the fabric of reality, and if we're tightly bound, and this obviously goes far beyond just like nutrition, but if we're tightly bound in our life, then the magic will elude us, and we will create a belief system that is hyper-materialistic, it's potentially atheistic, and it's scientismic, which scientism is not the same thing as science, by the way. Has anyone heard that term, scientism? Scientism is a material, atheistic, basically religion that pretends to be scientific.
You mean like Western medicine?
Yes, exactly. And this